I need to tell you about the time my stepsister stole $8 million from me. Not all at once. That would have been too obvious. She did it the way you boil a frog. Slowly, carefully, while convincing me she was doing me a favor. And the worst part? I let her. My name's Jake, and this is the story of how I lost everything. Got it back and learned that sometimes the people who smile at you across the dinner table are the same ones planning to gut you like a fish. Let me back up. My dad died on a Tuesday. Heart attack. Sudden. He was 63 years old, still working, still vital. One minute he was reviewing quarterly reports in his office. The next minute he was on the floor and the paramedics were telling me there was nothing they could do. I was 29. Too young to be dealing with estate lawyers and funeral homes, and people I'd never met telling me how sorry they were for my loss. But that's life, right? It doesn't wait for you to be ready. Dad left behind a complicated estate. Not complicated because he was disorganized. The opposite, actually. He was meticulous. 3 rental properties in Portland, a vacation house in Bend, investment portfolios, the commercial building downtown where his architecture firm had operated for 30 years, stock options, retirement accounts, whole life insurance policies. The lawyers told me the estate was worth approximately $8 million. $8 million. And he left half to me, his biological son. The other half went to my stepsister, Claire. Now let me tell you about Claire. Claire came into my life when I was 15. Her mom married my dad after my parents' divorce, and suddenly I had this stepsister who was 2 years younger than me, blonde, bubbly, always laughing. At first, I resented her. She wasn't my real sister. She was an intruder in my dad's house, taking up space at the dinner table, hanging pictures of herself on the walls. But Claire had this way about her. She was friendly, persistent. She'd ask about my day and actually listen. She'd laugh at my stupid jokes. She remembered the little things and what kind of pizza I liked, which video games I was into, that I hated mushrooms. Over time, she wore me down. By the time I left for college, I actually considered her my sister. Not step. Just sister. We weren't super close as adults. She lived her life, I lived mine. But we'd see each other at holidays, text occasionally, keep up with each other's Instagram stories. Normal sibling stuff. When Dad died, Claire was there. She flew in from Seattle the same day, showed up at the hospital, hugged me in the waiting room while I tried not to fall apart. "We'll get through this," she said. "We'll get through it together." And I believed her. The funeral was on a Saturday. Gray sky, intermittent rain, the kind of weather that makes everything feel heavier. I gave the eulogy. Tried to, anyway. Got about 3 sentences in before my voice cracked and I had to stop. Just stood there at the podium, staring at the casket, unable to make words come out. Claire walked up, put her hand on my shoulder. "It's okay," she whispered. "I've got this." She finished the eulogy for me, talked about Dad's dedication to his work, his love for his family, how he'd welcomed her into his life when he didn't have to. She had everyone crying, including me. Afterwards, at the reception, she stayed by my side, fielded condolences, made sure I ate something, drove me home when I was too emotionally exhausted to function. "You need anything, you call me," she said as I got out of the car. "Day or night, I mean it. We're in this together." I watched her drive away and thought, I'm lucky to have her. That thought would haunt me later. The estate was a mess. Not because Dad was disorganized, but because dying suddenly means you don't get to tie up loose ends. There were bills in his name, properties that needed managing, tenants calling about maintenance issues, insurance claims, tax documents, mountains of paperwork that made my head spin. I was drowning. I'd inherited my dad's architecture firm, which meant I was suddenly responsible for 12 employees, ongoing projects, and clients who needed reassurance that we weren't going to abandon their builds halfway through. I was working 70-hour weeks, sleeping maybe 4 hours a night. Stress migraines became my new normal. I'd stand in the shower and just zone out, forgetting why I was there. I stopped going to the gym, stopped seeing friends. My apartment became this depressing cave where I'd pass out on the couch, still wearing my work clothes, wake up at 3 a.m. with my laptop burning a hole through my chest, and stumble back to the office. My assistant Monica pulled me aside one day. "Boss, you look like death. When's the last time you ate something that wasn't from a vending machine?" I couldn't remember. "You need help," she said. "You can't do this alone." That's when Claire stepped in. "Jake, you're killing yourself," she said one Sunday evening. We were at Dad's house. My house now, technically. Sorting through his files. "Let me help. I'm good with paperwork. I can handle the rental properties, deal with tenants. You focus on the firm." I looked at her, really looked. She seemed genuine, concerned. "Are you sure?" I asked. "That's a lot of work." "You're my brother. Of course I'm sure." Brother, not stepbrother. Just brother. That got me. So I said yes. Claire took over managing the rental properties. She set up accounts, paid bills, handled maintenance requests. Every month, she'd send me a spreadsheet showing income and expenses. Everything looked fine. Great, even. The properties were generating about $12,000 a month in rental income after expenses. Half went to me, half went to Claire. Easy. She also helped with the investment accounts. Dad had money in 5 different brokerages, all with different passwords and security questions. Claire consolidated everything into 2 main accounts. One for me, one for her. "It'll be simpler this way," she explained. "Easier to track performance." Made sense to me. She suggested selling the vacation house in Bend. "Neither of us uses it, and the property taxes are killing us. We could sell it, split the proceeds, invest the money somewhere it'll actually grow." Also made sense. She recommended selling the commercial building downtown. "The firm is renting space anyway, and that building needs major updates. Sell it now while the market's hot." Again, reasonable. Over 6 months, Claire made dozens of these suggestions. Always reasonable, always logical, always in our best interest. And I agreed to all of it because I was drowning and she was throwing me a life preserver. Every few weeks we'd meet for dinner. She'd update me on the estate, walk me through the numbers, ask how I was holding up. "You look tired," she'd say, refilling my wine glass. "You should take a vacation, get away for a while. I'll hold down the fort." She was supportive, caring, exactly what I needed. I trusted her completely. Looking back, there were signs, small things I dismissed at the time. Like when I asked to see the actual rental property accounts, not just the spreadsheets, and Claire said the online portal was down for maintenance, and she'd send me the login info later. She never did. Or when I mentioned to my dad's old accountant that Claire was handling the properties, and he got this weird look on his face. "Just keep copies of everything," he said, "for your records." Or when Claire upgraded her apartment, moved from a studio in Capitol Hill to a 2-bedroom in Queen Anne with a view of the Space Needle. She said she'd gotten a raise at work. I didn't question it. Or when she took 3 international trips in 6 months. Barcelona, Thailand, Croatia. Posted photos on Instagram of herself on beaches, in fancy restaurants, living her best life. "Work bonus," she explained when I asked. "They sent the whole team to Thailand as a reward for hitting our fundraising goals." I believed her because I wanted to believe her. Because questioning her would mean admitting I'd made a mistake trusting her. And I wasn't ready to admit that. About 8 months after Dad died, I ran into Marcus Chen at a coffee shop. Marcus had been Dad's business partner years ago, before they'd amicably split and Marcus started his own firm. They'd stayed friends. Marcus used to come to our house for barbecues, always brought gifts at Christmas. "Jake," he said, gripping my hand firmly. "I've been meaning to call you. How are you holding up?" "Surviving," I said. "Barely, but surviving." "And the estate? Everything settled?" "Getting there. Claire's been helping me manage the properties and..." Marcus's expression changed. Just a flicker, but I caught it. "What?" I asked. "Nothing. I just He hesitated. Look, this is probably nothing, but I was having lunch downtown last week and I saw Claire meeting with some guy. Real estate agent, I think. They were looking at documents and I heard her mention your dad's commercial building. We're selling it, I said. Claire found a buyer. Right, of course. But he still looked uncomfortable. Just be careful, okay? Estate situations can get complicated, even with family, especially with family. Claire's got it under control. She's been amazing through all this. Marcus nodded slowly. I'm sure she has. Just keep an eye on the paperwork. Your dad would want you to stay involved. I left that conversation feeling vaguely uneasy, but I pushed it down. Marcus was being paranoid. Claire was my sister. She wouldn't screw me over. Right? 3 months later, I was at my accountant's office for tax prep. Everything looks good, Martin said, flipping through my documents. But I need statements for your investment accounts, the ones from Merrill Lynch and Schwab. I'll get those from Claire, I said. She's been managing. Actually, could you pull them yourself? I'd like to verify the distributions. Your dad's estate generated significant capital gains last year. I want to make sure everything's being reported correctly. Something in his tone made me pause. Is something wrong? Probably not, but estate taxes can be tricky. Better to be thorough. That night, I logged into the investment accounts for the first time in months, and my stomach dropped. The accounts that should have had $4 million, my half of Dad's investments, had $400,000. I stared at the screen, certain I was looking at the wrong account. I checked the account number. Checked it again. It was my account. Where was the other $3.6 million? I scrolled through the transaction history. Transfers. Dozens of transfers over the past 10 months. Money moved out in chunks. $50,000 here. $100,000 there. Sometimes $200,000 at a time. All transfers authorized by me. Except I hadn't authorized them. My hands started shaking. I called Claire. Hey, she answered, cheerful as always. What's up? I'm looking at my investment account, I said slowly. Why is there only $400,000 in it? Silence. Claire? Oh, right. I've been meaning to talk to you about that. Remember when we consolidated the accounts? Some of your money is in a different account. A high-yield savings thing, better interest rates. How much money? I'd have to check. Maybe $500,000? That's still $3 million short. Another pause. Longer this time. Jake, can we talk about this in person? It's complicated, and I don't want to explain over the phone. I want to talk about it right now. Tomorrow, I promise. I'll come to your place tomorrow evening and walk you through everything, okay? I wasn't okay, but I said, fine, tomorrow. I didn't sleep that night. Claire showed up the next evening with a leather portfolio and a Starbucks cup with my name on it. I got your usual, she said, handing me the latte. Grande vanilla, with almond milk. I took it because I didn't know what else to do. My brain was static. We sat at my kitchen table. She pulled out spreadsheets. Okay, she said, all business. So the money isn't missing, it's just moved. When we sold the Ben property, the proceeds were split. Your half went into a different account I set up for property management. Same with the downtown building. We had to keep the real estate money separate for tax purposes. Show me the account. I don't have the login information with me, but... Claire, show me the account. She looked at me, really looked, and for the first time I saw something behind her eyes. Something calculating. You don't trust me, she said quietly. I'm looking at my investment account that's missing $3 million. So no, right now I don't. Her face crumpled. Tears. Actual tears. I've been working my ass off managing Dad's estate while you focused on the firm, she said, voice trembling. I've dealt with tenants and contractors and lawyers and accountants. I've sacrificed my time, my energy. And this is the thanks I get? Accusations? I'm not accusing you of anything. I just want to see the account. You are accusing me. You think I stole from you. Did you? Wrong thing to say. She stood up, grabbed her portfolio. I can't believe this. I've been nothing but supportive, and you're treating me like a criminal. You know what? Fine. Deal with the estate yourself. I'm done. She stormed out, and I sat there feeling like the asshole. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe there was a reasonable explanation. Maybe I jumped to conclusions because some paranoid part of me was looking for betrayal. I drank the latte she'd brought me. Vanilla with almond milk. My usual. By the time I finished it, I'd almost convinced myself to apologize. Then I threw up for 3 hours straight. I spent that night on my bathroom floor, alternating between vomiting and dry heaving, my body rejecting everything I'd consumed. At first I thought it was food poisoning, bad milk in the latte or something. But then, around 2 a.m., when I was finally able to think straight, I remembered something. The last time I'd gotten this sick was about 3 months ago, right after having dinner at Claire's apartment. She'd made this elaborate pasta dish, insisted I take home the leftovers. I'd been sick for 2 days, and before that, 6 months ago, Sunday brunch at her place. Eggs Benedict. Sick for 36 hours. I'd thought it was just bad luck. Food sensitivity, stress affecting my stomach. But what if it wasn't? What if Claire had been... No, that was crazy. That was paranoid conspiracy thinking. Except Marcus had warned me. Except my dad's accountant had given me that weird look. Except there were $3 million missing from my accounts. I pulled out my phone and Googled symptoms of arsenic poisoning. Nausea, vomiting, abdominal pain, diarrhea. All the symptoms I'd had. Multiple times. Always after eating or drinking something Claire had prepared. My hands started shaking again. I was either losing my mind or my stepsister had been slowly poisoning me while stealing millions of dollars. I didn't know which option scared me more. I called in sick the next day. Food poisoning, I told Monica. She didn't question it. I spent the morning researching arsenic poisoning, thallium, other heavy metals that could make someone sick without killing them immediately. The more I read, the more paranoid I became. Was I really thinking my stepsister was poisoning me? That was insane. That was murder mystery novel thinking, not real life. But the missing money was real. The sick episodes were real. The timing was real. I called my buddy Eric. We'd been friends since college. He was an accountant at a big firm downtown. I need your help, I said. Something's wrong with my dad's estate. Can you look at some accounts? Absolutely. Send me everything. I spent the next 2 days gathering documents, bank statements, investment records, property sale documents, everything Claire had been managing. I also called my doctor and asked for a blood test, heavy metals panel. He thought it was weird, but he ordered it. Eric called me 3 days later. Jake, we need to talk, in person. Eric came to my apartment with a banker's box full of printouts. How bad is it? I asked. Bad, really bad. He spread documents across my coffee table. Your stepsister has been systematically stealing from you for almost a year, he said. The investment transfers? She moved your money into accounts in her name. The property sales? She undervalued them, sold to buyers she had relationships with, and pocketed the difference. The rental income? She's been reporting half of what the properties actually generate. My throat went tight. How much? As near as I can tell, about $3.2 million. The room tilted. There's more, Eric said. Some of the transfers were flagged by the brokerages as suspicious. They sent notifications to the email address on file. But that email address is one Claire set up. You never saw the notifications. How is this legal? How did she even access my accounts? Power of attorney. You signed one when your dad died, remember? Gave her authority to handle estate business. She's been using that authority to authorize transfers. I did remember. Claire had brought the document to me one night when I was buried in work. Said it would make everything easier. I'd signed it without reading it. What do I do? I asked. Get a lawyer, a good one, and maybe... Eric hesitated. Maybe talk to the police. And the poisoning? Eric looked at me. You think she's poisoning you? I don't know. Maybe. I get sick every time I eat or drink something she prepares, and I just got sick again last night after she brought me coffee. Did you get the blood test? Waiting for results. Wait for the results before you make accusations. Poisoning that's a serious allegation. You need proof. The blood test came back 3 days later. My doctor called me personally. Jake, I need you to come in immediately. Your blood work shows elevated levels of arsenic. Not enough to be immediately life-threatening, but consistent with chronic low-dose exposure. My vision went blurry. Are you sure? I ran the test twice. The levels are elevated. Have you been exposed to arsenic at work? Old buildings sometimes have it in the walls or insulation. No, I think someone's been putting it in my food. Silence on the other end. Jake, that's a very serious allegation. If you believe someone is intentionally poisoning you, you need to contact the police immediately. I will. What do I do about the arsenic? Come in. We'll start chelation therapy to remove it from your system and stop consuming anything you haven't personally prepared or opened yourself. No shared meals, no drinks from anyone, nothing. I hung up and just sat there. She'd actually been poisoning me. Not paranoia, not stress. Actual poison. My stepsister had been stealing millions of dollars while slowly killing me. I didn't go to the police, not yet. I wanted to be absolutely sure. I wanted to give Claire one more chance to explain. Maybe there was something I was missing. So I called her. I'm sorry about the other night, I said. I was stressed and I overreacted. Can we meet? I want to understand everything properly. She was quiet for a moment, then... Of course, I'm sorry too. I should have been more transparent. Come over tonight, I'll show you everything. That night, I went to her apartment with a recording app running on my phone in my pocket. Washington is a two-party consent state for recordings. What I was doing was illegal. I didn't care. Claire's apartment was nice. Too nice for someone who worked part-time at a nonprofit. She poured us wine, sat across from me at her dining table. So, she said, let's clear this up. What specifically are you worried about? The investment accounts. You said the money was moved for tax purposes. I need to see those accounts. Right, okay. She pulled up her laptop, typed for a moment. Here. She turned the screen toward me. It showed an account with $800,000. That's from the property sales, she explained. Your half of the Bend house and the commercial building. That's $800,000. I'm missing another $2.4 million from the investment transfers. Oh, that's in a different account. Give me a sec. She typed again. Frowned. Huh, I'm getting an error message. The account might be having technical issues. I'll call them tomorrow. Claire. What? I know what you did. Her face went blank, just for a second. Then the tears started again. I don't know what you mean. Jake, you're scaring me. I had an accountant review everything. The transfers, the property sales, the rental income. You've stolen over $3 million from me. That's insane. I would never... And I got a blood test. I have arsenic. In my system. From the coffee you brought me. From the meals you cooked. You've been poisoning me. She froze. The tears stopped. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. You can't prove that. I have medical records showing elevated arsenic levels. I have timestamps showing when I got sick. all after eating or drinking things you prepared. Circumstantial. Could be from anywhere. Old paint, contaminated water, workplace exposure. Stop lying. My voice came out harder than I intended. She flinched. I don't understand why you're doing this, she said, but the tears were gone. Her voice was different now, colder. I've done everything for you. Everything, and you're making up these crazy accusations. Show me the account. Right now, the one with the missing $2.4 million. I told you, there's a technical issue. Show me the fucking account. I was standing. I didn't remember standing. Claire stood too. The mask was completely off now. You really want to do this? She asked quietly. Show me the account, Claire. She smiled, actually smiled. There is no account, Jake. The money's gone. I spent it. My blood went cold. You... what? I spent it. Well, some of it. The rest is invested under my name. Either way, it's not yours anymore. I couldn't breathe. Why? I managed. She laughed. Actually laughed. Why? Because your dad left us equal shares like we were equal children. But we're not equal, are we? You're his real son, his blood. I'm just the stepsister who was tolerated. Dad loved you. Dad tolerated me. There's a difference. Every holiday, every birthday, I could see it in his eyes. You're not really my daughter. Do you know what that feels like? Growing up in a house where you're constantly reminded you're not really part of the family? That's not true. It's absolutely true. So when he died and left us equal shares, I thought, how stupid. How typically naive. He actually thought I'd be satisfied with half. Half of what should have gone to his real son. So you decided to steal my half. I decided to take what I was owed. For all the years of being treated like a second-class daughter. For all the times your dad looked at you with pride and looked at me with tolerance. She was pacing now, animated. And it was so easy. You were so trusting, so grateful for my help. You signed everything I put in front of you. Power of attorney, account transfers, property sale documents. You didn't read any of it. My hands were shaking. I trusted you. That was your mistake. And the poison? She shrugged. Insurance. If you got too sick, too distracted, you'd be even less likely to notice what I was doing. And if you died, well, I would have inherited your half too, wouldn't I? As your only surviving family. The casual way she said it, like she was discussing the weather. I pulled out my phone. I recorded this whole conversation. She glanced at the phone, then back at me. Still smiling. Washington is a two-party consent state. That recording is inadmissible in court. Didn't you learn anything from your dad's law school attempts? My stomach dropped. She was right. But hey, she continued, take it to the police, take me to court, prove I did something wrong. Oh wait, you authorized all those transfers. Your signature is on everything. Good luck proving it wasn't you who moved your own money. You forged my signature. Did I? Or did you sign documents while you were exhausted and grieving and not paying attention? How's a court going to tell the difference? She picked up her wine glass, took a sip. Get out of my apartment, Jake. And don't contact me again. We're not family anymore. I left her apartment and threw up in the bushes outside. Not from poison this time, from rage, from disgust, from the realization that I'd been played by someone I'd called family for 14 years. Then I called Eric. She admitted it, everything, I recorded it. Inadmissible, Eric said immediately. I know, she knew too, what do I do? Get a lawyer, a really, really good lawyer, and prepare for a long fight. I found a lawyer, Daniel Carver, a state litigation specialist. He cost $500 an hour. Your case is complicated, he told me at our first meeting. Your stepsister, has technically done everything through legal channels. She had power of attorney. She transferred money between accounts you jointly managed as estate administrators. She sold properties with your authorization. I didn't authorize, but your signature is on the documents. That's the problem. Proving forgery is extremely difficult, especially when the accused is a family member who had legitimate access to your financial life. So I'm screwed. Not necessarily. We can pursue civil litigation for breach of fiduciary duty. She had a legal obligation to act in your best interest as co-administrator of the estate. We can argue she violated that duty. We can also pursue conversion claims, unauthorized control of property. What about the poisoning? Daniel leaned back. That's trickier. You have medical evidence of arsenic exposure, but proving the source is difficult. Did you keep samples of the food or drinks she gave you? No. Then it's your word against hers. She'll claim you were exposed to arsenic through other means. It becomes he said, she said. So she gets away with trying to murder me? Unless we can find concrete evidence linking her to the arsenic, yes, I'm sorry. Will I win the civil case? Daniel looked at me seriously. Honestly? Maybe. These cases are unpredictable, but I think we have a shot, especially with your accountant's analysis showing the financial discrepancies. How long? 2 years, minimum. Possibly longer. 2 years. How much? With discovery, depositions, trial prep, trial itself. You're looking at $150,000 to $200,000 in legal fees. I didn't have $150,000. Claire had stolen my liquid assets. I took out a loan against my dad's firm, signed the paperwork with shaking hands, and then I went to war with my stepsister. Daniel was thorough. He subpoenaed bank records, brokerage statements, property sale documents, email communications. He deposed Claire for 8 hours. Deposed the real estate agents she'd worked with. Deposed the brokers who'd handled the investment transfers. He found inconsistencies, lots of them. Claire had reported property sale prices to me that were 20–30% lower than the actual sale prices. She'd kept the difference. She'd transferred money out of investment accounts on dates when I had cell phone records proving I was in meetings or on calls. I couldn't have authorized those transfers. She'd forged my initials on documents. My real initials were always JM, Jake Morrison. Her forgery said JRM, Jake Robert Morrison. Close but wrong middle initial. My middle name is Michael, not Robert. She'd sent emails from my email address. Daniel's forensics expert proved they were sent from Claire's IP address, not mine. Piece by piece, we built a case, but Claire had a good lawyer too. Thomas Brennan. Former prosecutor turned defense attorney, expensive and ruthless. He argued that the estate administration had been informal, that Claire and I had been working together as a team, that I'd given verbal authorization for transfers even if I didn't personally click the buttons, that any discrepancies were honest mistakes, not fraud. It was exhausting. Depositions, court hearings, motions, counter-motions. I aged 5 years and 18 months. The break came from an unexpected source. Marcus Chen. Remember him? Dad's old business partner. The one who'd warned me to be careful. He called me 14 months into the litigation. Jake, I need to tell you something. I should have told you a long time ago, but I wasn't sure it was relevant. What is it? 5 years ago, your dad came to me with concerns about Claire. He'd noticed money missing from one of his personal accounts. Small amounts, a few hundred here and there. He suspected Claire was taking it, but he couldn't prove it. My heart stopped. He confronted her? He did. She denied it. Cried. Said she would never steal from him. He wanted to believe her, so he let it go. But he started watching his accounts more carefully after that. And the money stopped disappearing. Why didn't he tell me? He didn't want to poison your relationship with her. He thought maybe he'd been wrong. Maybe it really had been bank errors or something. But he kept documentation, just in case. Do you have proof of this? Your dad documented everything. He kept a file. I have it. He gave it to me for safekeeping in case anything ever happened to him. He never thought, he never thought she'd go after you like this. Marcus sent me the file. It contained bank statements with highlighted transactions, notes in my dad's handwriting documenting dates and amounts, emails to himself creating a paper trail, a confrontation letter he'd written but never sent. It showed a pattern of small thefts from his accounts over 18 months 5 years ago, always under $500. Always timed to blend in with legitimate expenses. Then a gap after he'd confronted Clare. Then, after his death, larger thefts from my accounts. It established a pattern, a history. Prior bad acts. Daniel submitted it as evidence of Clare's propensity for financial manipulation and theft. Clare's lawyer tried to get it excluded, argued it was hearsay, that my dad's suspicions weren't proof, that the confrontation could have been about anything. The judge allowed it. 2 weeks before trial, Clare's lawyer called with a settlement offer. Clare would return $2.1 million. In exchange, I would agree not to pursue criminal charges for fraud, theft, or attempted poisoning. It's a good offer, Daniel said. You'll recover most of your losses, and you avoid the uncertainty of trial. It's not enough, I said. She stole $3.2 million. Yes, but litigation isn't about what's fair. It's about what you can prove and what you can get. This is a bird in the hand. What if we win at trial? If you win, you might get everything back plus punitive damages and attorney's fees. If you lose, you get nothing, and you're out $200,000 in legal fees you've already incurred. This is $2.1 million guaranteed. I thought about it for 3 days, ran the numbers, talked to Eric, talked to Marcus, talked to my therapist. In the end, I took the settlement. Not because it was enough, it wasn't. Not because I forgave her, I didn't. But because I was tired. So fucking tired of fighting. Tired of depositions and court hearings and reliving the betrayal over and over. I wanted it to be over. The settlement took 4 months to finalize. Clare transferred the money in increments. $500,000 in March, $800,000 in May, $400,000 in July, the final $400,000 in September. We never spoke directly. Everything went through lawyers. The settlement agreement included a mutual non-disparagement clause. I couldn't publicly accuse her of theft or poisoning. She couldn't claim I'd falsely accused her. We were legally required to pretend the whole thing had been a business dispute that was amicably resolved. When the final payment cleared, Daniel called me. It's done. You're whole. Well, mostly whole. I'd recovered $2.1 million of the $3.2 million stolen. After legal fees, $180,000, and loan interest, $25,000, I netted about $1,895 million. I'd lost $305 million in 2 years of my life. But I'd won. Sort of. People ask me if I talk to Clare now. I don't. She sent me an email once about a year after the settlement. Said she hoped we could move past this someday. Said family was more important than money. Said she'd made mistakes, but she was working on herself. I didn't respond. Because here's the thing, she's not family. She never was. Family doesn't smile at you while planning to, rob you blind. Family doesn't use your grief as cover for theft. Family doesn't poison you to keep you distracted. Family doesn't justify betrayal with childhood resentments. She was a stranger who lived in my house growing up, that's all. I see her sometimes on social media. She's traveling, Europe, Asia, South America, living her best life on the $1 million she got to keep. Part of me wants to be angry. Part of me wants to track down every photo and comment. This trip is sponsored by money she stole from her stepbrother. But mostly I just feel tired. I spent the year after the settlement rebuilding, not just financially, emotionally. I started therapy, dealt with the trust issues, the paranoia, the way I'd flinch every time someone offered to help with anything. The nightmares where I'd wake up convinced someone was poisoning my food. My therapist, Dr. Sarah Noyen, asked me what I learned. I said I learned that trust is expensive, that family isn't always blood, that sometimes the people who hurt you most are the ones you never suspected, that being polite can get you killed. She said those were good lessons. Painful, but good. I sold the rental properties. Too many bad memories associated with them. Every monthly statement was a reminder of how Claire had lied to me about the income. I invested the money in index funds and tried not to look at the accounts too often. The firm was doing well. My employees had carried me through the worst of the litigation, taking on extra work when I was too distracted to function. I gave them all significant bonuses once the settlement came through. I'm dating someone now. Sarah. Different Sarah from my therapist. She's a teacher. Doesn't know anything about $8 million estates or theft or litigation. When I told her about Claire, she asked if I'd forgiven her. I said no. She asked if I ever would. I said probably not. She said that was okay, that forgiveness isn't mandatory, that some betrayals are too big to just move past. I appreciated that. Last month, I saw Claire in person for the first time since the settlement. I was at a restaurant downtown with Sarah. Anniversary dinner, 2 years together. Claire was there with a guy I didn't recognize. Boyfriend, probably. Good-looking, well-dressed. I wondered if she'd told him about me, about what she'd done. Our eyes met across the room. For a second, neither of us moved. Then she smiled. That same bright smile from when we were kids. The one that made you think butter wouldn't melt in her mouth. I didn't smile back. I turned to Sarah and kept talking, like Claire wasn't there, like she was just another stranger in a crowded restaurant. After a few minutes, I saw Claire and her boyfriend leave. She didn't come over, didn't say hello, didn't try to talk. Good. Sarah noticed, though. She always notices. Was that her? She asked quietly. Yeah. You okay? Yeah, I'm okay. And I was. Seeing her didn't send me into a spiral, didn't make me angry or sad or anything, really. I just felt nothing. Maybe that's what healing looks like. Not forgiveness, just indifference. You know what's funny about trust? You think it's this noble thing. Giving people the benefit of the doubt, believing the best in them, seeing their potential. Sometimes it is those things, but sometimes it's just cowardice with better PR. I trusted Claire because it was easier than suspecting her, easier than asking hard questions, easier than admitting that someone I called family might be using me. I enabled her theft by being too polite, too trusting, too willing to believe that people are fundamentally good. My dad used to say, trust but verify. I forgot the verify part. Cost me $1.3 million in 2 years of my life. Almost cost me my actual life with the arsenic poisoning, but it taught me something valuable. Real family doesn't need you to be stupid to love them. Real family doesn't require blind trust. Real family doesn't punish you for asking questions. And the people who get angry when you verify? The ones who cry and call you suspicious and make you feel like the bad guy for wanting to see receipts? Those are the people you should have been verifying all along. So that's my story. The time my stepsister stole $8 million from me while I grieved our father, and poisoned me for good measure. I got most of it back. Not all, never all. But I got something more valuable. I learned who I could trust and who I couldn't. I learned that blood doesn't make you family and a shared last name doesn't make you safe. I learned that grief makes you vulnerable, and some people see vulnerability as opportunity. And I learned that the hardest person to protect yourself from is the person you never suspected in the first place. If you're dealing with an estate right now, if you're managing money with family, if someone's offering to help while you're overwhelmed, trust them. But for God's sake, verify. Read every document, check every account, ask every question, get second opinions. Keep copies of everything. Don't sign anything without understanding it completely. And if they get angry about it, if they cry and accuse you of not trusting them, if they make you feel guilty for being careful, that's your answer right there. Because people who have nothing to hide don't mind showing their work. And people who do? Well, they smile at you across the dinner table and plan how to rob you blind. They bring you coffee with your name on it and poison in the cup. They hug you at funerals and start counting your inheritance before the body's cold. That's what I learned. Trust is earned, not given. And family? Real family? They'll understand when you ask to verify. They'll be patient when you're careful. They'll support you protecting yourself. Because real family wants you to be safe, even if it means being safe from them.